Welcome back to the show. My next guest is back in studio because they have another fantastic production happening. Velvet Wells is the creator and producer of Velvet Duke Productions. Welcome back, Velvet. Great to have you here.
Thank you, Derick.
This one is, correct me if I'm wrong, perhaps a little different than some of the others we've talked about, where you're bringing some special guests along for the ride. For those, though, before we get to this latest production, let's talk about a little bit about your background. Tell everybody about yourself as an entertainer, Velvet.
I am an entertainer. When I first moved to Ottawa, I was part of the Fringe Festival and I did a solo puppet show. I played 8 characters in total. I could do it. Not many people's brains race that fast. Mm-hmm. So that's one thing I do. I do musical improv, which is this thing. Stage shows. I've written plays. I've been in plays. I was on Mr. Dress Up way back.
Really?
Way back.
I forgot about that. That's amazing.
So I've had an opportunity to be in different parts of the entertainment industry, and in this part of my life, I want to do what sparks joy, as they say.
And that's musical improv. And for people that aren't familiar with how that works, it's very interactive with the audience. It's a lot of fun. And yeah, I was overhearing you talking to some of our guests in the green room. You know, most of the time it's fun and there's some comedy, but sometimes there's a serious component to it too, isn't there?
That's right. It's made up on the spot. It's based on both my energy, the audience's energy, and sometimes it calls for something that's a bit more serious. If it's topical, especially political or something very serious, they don't want to be the butt of the joke.
Right.
So I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
I don't lean all of my material that way. I like to smile, I like to laugh, and I often find the silly within the moment, but I'm open to whatever the emotion is.
Yeah, regardless, it's always entertaining. And as I said, this is a little bit different because you're bringing a bunch of guests. Let's talk about the guests. What sort of lineup do you have for this one?
I have a stand-up who's going to be my host. It's Jennifer Brigden, a local. Everybody is local to Ottawa.
Nice.
So she's going to be my host so that everybody comes in energized and, gets their laugh on. After that, I have Zoey, the poet. Zoey Roy.
With her zoetry?
That's right.
Yeah.
The hip-hop spoken word poetry.
Nice.
I also have another improv team, Randolph and Bianca. They are a real-life duo I'm not sure they're going to bring us their drama necessarily, unless that's somebody's suggestion. But they're very funny individually and together. And then as part of the radio component, my part of the show, I have somebody who's Joshua Mayo is going to come in and do some sketches for the news update.
Oh, nice.
So we'll find out how pointed or how silly that gets. But that was something I did originally myself, and I'm trying to divest how many hats I wear because I'm still the producer. I'm still the everything else.
Yeah. The interactive part, let's go into more detail on that. How does that work exactly with the audience?
Typically in improv, everyone shouts out a suggestion and hopes to be heard or hopes not to be picked. It's one of those two things. In my show, partially because I'm hard of hearing, I have people submit their suggestion ahead of time through a form.
Okay.
And then from that form, I have it randomized. So there's no way that I can cheat and prefer certain suggestions over the other. I won't find out that suggestion until it comes up in the moment. So there is still that surprise that happens for everybody. And then to back that up, because I'm singing, I have backing tracks that are also randomized.
Okay.
I won't know those either.
That's so good.
So it may be a rock song, it may be a folk song, I won't know.
Tell me about that challenge. What is that like for you? I'm just sure, I mean, it's exciting, but is it nerve-wracking too? What kind of challenges does that pose for you?
It's very challenging.
Yeah.
It's very challenging. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. But in some ways, it's also freeing because now I really cannot plan anything. I don't know the title. I don't know the style of music. However, I still have my brain and that fear of failing or fear of not conveying either the right style or the right tone. And so I still have to contend with doing it as well as I can even if I don't connect to it.
Right.
I've had times where I don't like the topic, or it's not my favorite style of music, but I'm a performer. I'm an entertainer.
The show must go on.
Show must go on.
Yeah.
I akin it to karaoke, where even the best karaoke is finished after 3 minutes.
Right.
And thankfully, after 3 minutes, the worst is also finished. So I would prefer people come in with that spirit to it. But also, what I hope to model is that in our life, we are not perfect. We make mistakes. And how do we move past that moment?
Well, and on that too is the gathering that you have is very inclusive, and I'd like you to share, just that philosophy that you have.
Yeah, I keep in the entertainment industry because I'm looking for more people who look and think like me. And that's accessibility across all the ways that you could think of that term. Not everybody gets a voice. Not everybody gets that stage time. Not everybody sees themselves in the audience or feels their life story reflected from the audience. So I try to bring in people who are of like mind, like spirit, and we may not always agree. We may not always have the same challenges, but at least in that moment we can come together and create something.
And you give this this great atmosphere of accessibility where everybody feels welcome. I've run out of time, but I will tell everybody just after the break how you can get involved, all the dates and so forth. They came up on screen, but I'll remind you in just a moment. Velvet, thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. We'll be back with more right after this.